Protests are continuing at the Dakota Access Pipeline. Let's take a look at what the authorities are doing now.
You don't want it? You only got a couple left.
Nearly everyone in the crowd is coughing, spitting up due to the heavy amounts of tear gas they're firing into the crowd. Here on the front lines, Standing Rock DAPL protest. This is a medic.
So basically we have water cannons that are aimed towards our water protectors. So we're having severe cases of hypothermia. They are aiming for people's hands. I took one patient that had the skin shot off of his finger, so he was down to the bone. They're also aiming for the heads. There was another brother that got shot in the head and was losing consciousness. So it's pretty deliberate and it's pretty violent. Woman got shot in the head too, said this gentleman.
This is a supply run basically, coming back to the front lines.
Shooting smoke bombs and getting into the ground, and we were trying to throw them back, but it's too hot and it's getting into our face, and they're just spraying over there with cold water, freezing cold water, and keep on gassing people, keep on macing people. This is not okay. We're here to be peaceful.
Putting their lives at stake to protect the water for millions of people.
We're really just looking at mass hypothermia right now. We've got trucks getting clothes and getting the wet clothes off of people.
Okay, great.
She's hypothermic. This is a human rights violation. I love it. Tear gas coming down up front.
We're not here for violence, and they're responding with violence and cruelty. We're just here to defend the water.
I can't get over how stupid the authorities are in this situation. Like, you would think they get, oh man, the optics of this are really, really bad. We're trying to put a pipeline that goes through Native American territory, and it's could potentially fuck up their water big time. And there's already evidence that it may have already happened. And you have protesters who are trying to block it. And we're going to be aggressive in how we crack down on the protesters. We're going to use fucking tear gas. Why? Think about it. There are people protesting a pipeline. Using tear gas for what? Anti-pipeline protesters. That's like, seems like such a banal form of protest. Like, we don't want this pipeline. Tear gas. Like, what the fuck? So they're using tear gas, and they're using water cannons in freezing cold weather. All right, that is fucking criminal. I mean, that's what that is. The idea that anybody would think that's okay. How? You don't know. You don't know if they have fucking changes of clothes. I mean, they're out there in the middle of nowhere where this pipeline is. So how do you know you're not going to get somebody wet? They don't have a change of clothes, and then they get hypothermia and could die. No, but the thing is, they don't care. And by the way, like from the beginning, this isn't just the police department out there. These are basically paid security, using that term loosely, from the oil companies. So this is like, private police cracking down. I mean, you want to talk about a perfect symbol for what's happening. You have the melding together, the meshing together of the state and an oil company, and they're coming together to crack the skulls of the protesters. But hold on, if the state really represents the law, if the police is supposed to represent the law, why wouldn't you turn around and crack down on the people who are the oil police? They're the ones who are breaking the law. They're the ones who are using force here. So think about how backwards that is. So you have the people who are aligning with the police who are using force. Well, they're the ones who are breaking the law. Now, you could argue, well, hold on, they're trespassing or they're on private property. Which is a bigger, problem? Which is a worse crime to break? Trespassing and they're on private property, by the way, for a purpose, civil disobedience, or, I don't know, using water cannons on somebody when it's freezing outside. And so they're trying to think, okay, how are we going to go about fixing this? Some people were like, well, maybe you just reroute the pipeline to make it so it doesn't go over Native American land and doesn't potentially poison this river. The guy who owns the company, a Texas billionaire, was like, yeah, that's interesting. No. They have such disrespect for people. I mean, the conversation should really be, hey, we shouldn't even have any more pipelines. I mean, we should immediately move towards green technology, renewable technology, and go full speed ahead down that road, because we got climate change to worry about. We got pollution to worry about. I mean, this is, again, you might think this is pie in the sky and hippie liberal bullshit, but I'm saying it specifically because it's not that, because we've seen the evidence. We've seen what the scientists have been screaming from the rooftops. Some say, hey, we're already past 400 parts per million. We're already at the worst case scenario. We're beyond the worst case scenario. I saw an article last night. The Arctic and the Antarctic are at record lows for ice right now at the same time, and that never happens. They're like, whoa, we don't even get what's happening here. Every time I read articles, worse than the worst case scenario. Bernie Sanders said it best, you got to treat climate change like it's a World War II level threat, because that's what it is. I mean, rising sea levels is the least of our problems. You're going to worry about famine and drought and wars over fresh water, which will happen. So the conversation should be, hey, should we even have this pipeline, or, what's going on here? Instead of, yes, we're going to have it, and should we reroute it, or should we keep it as it is, even though Native Americans hate it and it's over their property and it could poison their water supply? I mean, that's not even a conversation worth having. The answer is, obviously, you don't go over their land and potentially fuck up their water supply. At the very least, you reroute it, but we should really start moving in the opposite direction, because this is unacceptable. It's unacceptable how far it's already gotten with climate change, and it's unacceptable how the authorities are treating these peaceful protesters. Can anybody defend that, using a water cannon on somebody when it's fucking freezing outside, which could lead to death?